6.
It is something that just doesn't happen every day, that someone is identified 80 years later in World War II.
Now at 6, a story you'll see only on WBTV. A monumental homecoming is happening in Salisbury this week. Thomas Odell Moss is returning home after enlisting in the Army in 1941. And no, that's not a mistake. You heard that right. After more than 80 years, this World War II soldier is being returned home for a proper military burial at the Salisbury National Cemetery.
For decades, his family hasn't known what happened to him, but earlier this year, his remains were identified. WBTV's Claire Kopsky sat down with a member of his family and brings us this story from Salisbury.
Thomas Odell Moss's family have stared at this Purple Heart for decades, not knowing what happened to their loved one during World War II.
From what we gather was one heck of a nice guy. Loved life, loved people, loved the farm, loved his family.
For years, his nephew Gary Moss, who never met him, kept the medal and the only known photo of Odell on his desk in Rowan County.
You see it and you really, it's just there. And then all of a sudden you're notified, hey, he's been found.
It was a phone call that no one was expecting.
The military came to her house and we talked with them. They told us the things that went on, and it was just unbelievable.
More than 80 years since he died, Odell's family finally had answers.
During the battle that my uncle was in, that they were soldiers that saw the Germans coming and retreated to safer areas, and that my uncle and several other people stayed at the front line and continued the battle.
As a veteran himself, Gary says he cannot imagine what his final moments were like in November of 1944.
He gave the ultimate sacrifice, as many veterans have done.
Through a 100-plus page report, Odell's family learned where his body has been for decades.
A farmer in Germany found these 6 Americans in the battlefield and just took them and buried them out of respect. And then our military goes in and does all this research, investigations, interviews, and finds this grave.
Thanks to DNA samples from living relatives, a link was made to Odell.
Just amazing, just totally astonished.
A connection allowing a family member everyone thought was lost to be found.
I kind of sort of only visualized what my father and maybe his brothers and my grandmother and grandfather would think, to know that, hey, he's finally coming home. I think they would be very pleased and very proud too.
Thomas Odell Moss's burial ceremony is set for 2 o'clock on Friday here at Salisbury National Cemetery. His family says all are welcome to come and pay their respects. In Salisbury, I'm Claire Kopsky, WBTV, on your side.
Looking ahead.